Hello and welcome back. It's been a while. It's 2026. Can you believe it? Well, technically, it's the 29th when I'm filming it, but this probably will not see the light of day until January. But I'm back to talk about gay shit because, I don't know, that's fun. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you saw my last video. We got a new kitten. And this is that kitten. This is Miso. Look at him. Look here. Mies. Look right here. Look, Bobby. He was being so chill. Now he's playing with his sister. Okay. As I've said before, I don't plan on only talking about gay shit on here, but I do find it to be rather enjoyable, personally, to just talk about it. And I've been out for 5 years now. Yeah, just over 5 years. And I don't know, it's just fun to talk about. And I know before I was coming out, I was seeking out this kind of content. So I don't know. I just want to kind of throw myself into the mix as an example of what life could look like if you end up being gay. So I want to talk about in this video things that change when you come out. So I was gonna just do one big video that was just like the good and the bad, but I know how I am and I know that I'll talk for probably a while, so I'm gonna break it up. And today we're gonna start with the bad, because then we can end with the good next week. Obviously it's so different for every person. Some people come out, everyone is super accepting, and life is grand, nothing really changes. And I would say that is somewhat my experience, but that doesn't mean that it's everyone's experience. So the first thing is pretty obvious, I feel, and that is just that sometimes you lose people. Sometimes you have homophobic people in your life and you lose them. Now, I'm lucky in that I haven't really lost anyone. At least no one that has just like looked at me flat in the face and just like tried telling me that being gay is wrong and then just like said peace out. I think that one doesn't necessarily need to be talked about at length because that is one of the most known things I think that comes with coming out for a lot of people. A lot of people like lose family members and lose like close friends, and I just truly can't even imagine what that would be like. And obviously it's a lot of times because of religious reasons, which is just really interesting to me because for the most part, religion is so rooted in like loving people no matter what, and like God loves everyone. And I just find that to be somewhat not comical. I almost said comical. It's not comical, but I find it to be very intriguing that there are people that are preaching about God's love, and then if their kid comes out, they're like completely cutting them off and shit. I don't know. I think that is an interesting way to live, and it makes me sad obviously it makes me sad for the queer kid, but it makes me more sad for the parent that they're living their life in a way that they're willing to lose their kid. Like, I just can't relate. Sorry. So yeah, sometimes you may come out and you may lose people, and I think sometimes people will surprise you. And I say that in both directions. I think maybe that there are people that you think will be accepting that aren't, and people that you think won't be accepting that are. So just prepare yourself for that, I think. Yeah. So this one has definitely been, I feel like, a part of my coming out and my experience, which is just that the people in your life, like your friends, your family, strangers too, I guess, people kind of won't know how to interact or ask you questions. Like, especially at first. I think a lot of people at first, it's like, and then as they get more and more comfortable, they start getting comfortable with asking questions. But I do feel like people just don't really know that they can just ask the same questions. You know what I mean? Has anyone else that's come out that happens to be watching this, have you had that experience? Like, just, yeah, I think I don't know if these people necessarily know that they're doing it, but that's how it comes across to me, is just that, like, you can, like, ask me like the same questions that you would ask, or you can even ask me about, like, random things. You can ask me about, like, sexual things. Like, I am not an easily offended person, so I'm like, ask me anything. Especially if I know that you're coming at it from a good place and you're not trying to be a dick. I don't know. It's just like, ask me whatever. I'm like an open book. I'm down to talk about whatever, and would happily answer any questions from my perspective. Obviously, we all have different experiences and perspectives and stuff, but I don't know. I always found that one to be kind of an interesting part of coming out, is just, it's like people like tense up almost, and they're just like, I don't really know what to say now. Like, how do I ask you about your relationship, or how do I ask you about, like, your life in terms of queerness, not like life stuff, but just anything that's associated with being gay. I don't know. I don't really know how to articulate that well, aside from just, like, you'll know it when it's happening. And I am very curious to know, like, who all has experienced that same thing, because it's just interesting, because it's like, it's different, but not really. It's just like loving people, you know? I do think people are scared that something will come across the wrong way and, like, don't want to offend anyone or whatever, but it's just like, just ask. Just ask. I personally, this is me, I would rather someone ask something that seems like, oh, you cannot ask that, or don't, come on, don't ask. Like, I'd rather be like, well, you probably shouldn't ask that kind of thing, whatever. I'm just like, ask away. Like, let's make this as normal as possible, because it is. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's kind of that. I don't know. You'll know it when it happens, and I'm sure there are people who have experienced it. This one has been a bigger thing for me than I thought that it ever would be, and that is just that you will feel hesitant to, like, out yourself to certain people, like people that you don't know maybe, or you're, like, just meeting, or maybe people in your work environment. Like, example, like, if I'm at work and talk, like, just kind of chatting with someone, I'm definitely a lot more hesitant to say, oh, my girlfriend, yada, yada, yada. Like, it just sometimes feels like, I don't want to make this awkward. I don't want to risk this person being homophobic and pissing me off right now. Like, so I will find myself saying, like, my partner a lot, or it just is like, it's kind of a shitty thing to be in conversation with someone and to even have to be considering that, like, while you're having the conversation. Like, you're trying to size the person up in front of you, where you're just like, is this a safe person that's not going to make things awkward, weird, not going to say something offensive to me? I don't know, especially, like, as a lesbian, like, as a woman, as a gay woman, as a lesbian speaking with another woman, there's, like, a hesitation that it's going to make things weird in that way. And then with, like, an older person, like, homophobia is a little bit more, like, rooted in them. Like, it just is, it's not something I really expected to be so apprehensive about, or even, like, mindful of. And it's not, for me, it has nothing to do with shame either. Like, I feel no shame when it comes to being gay. I actually love that aspect of me. Like, I love being gay and what that means for me, and, like, what that means my life looks like. But it just is truly not wanting to make things weird in conversation with people, and, like, not even wanting to have to deal with that. And I would say, for the most part, personally, that happens at work. Like, I work in construction, and, like, it just, sometimes you just gotta, like, feel it out a little bit. And, like, I've never even had a bad experience, like, coming out or just saying something that would signal to someone that I'm gay or have a girlfriend. Like, I've never had a bad experience, so it's not even like, oh, that didn't go well, I'm gonna not do that anymore. I just truly don't feel like having to, like, hold someone's hand and, like, explain things to them, or, Like, it's truly just like a comfort level thing. Like, I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. And if I sometimes feel uncomfortable, it's like, okay, it's safer for me to like not even mention my girlfriend or say my partner, which that usually is a little bit of a signal, but it's like a softer blow for people, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a cushy way of being like I'm gay. I don't know. And the really funny thing for me is when I'm out in public, I have no issues at all holding my girlfriend's hand. Obviously, there's a time and a place, and if there's ever a time where she's feeling uncomfortable or we don't really want to risk it, obviously we won't. Funny enough, when we were walking down Broadway once, Sid was feeling like very uncomfortable about holding hands, so we didn't, which that's kind of a bummer because that's where we live in Nashville. Not that we spend much time on Broadway, but it just generally, I personally am more cautious of in conversation saying that I have a girlfriend than I am just walking down the street like holding my girlfriend's hand. Cause like that's just like an in passing thing, and I've never had any issues with that. I think had that not been the case and we had someone say something or try to start something, I think maybe I would be more apprehensive. But something about the vulnerability of like coming out to someone that you don't really know and just not knowing how they will react and then not wanting to have to deal with the fallout that comes from that. So that's just me personally, but it is kind of interesting when I think about it. Like, I'm physically totally fine. You will catch me holding hands with her when we're out in public. Generally, I don't care where we are. And a lot of that for me, we were talking about it recently, I feel like, and I think it's when we were at Dollywood. It was me and Sid, and we were there with some of our like closest friends, like who's also a lesbian couple. And I didn't even really think about it. Fortunately, Dolly is known to be very accepting, but I didn't even really think like, okay, do I need to be careful because this is a lot of conservative people, likely it's the South still, which we live in Tennessee, but it's a different part of Tennessee. We're in Nashville, we're in a bubble. And like for me, when I think about that, I remember talking to Sid about it and just being like, for me, I feel comfier doing this in Dollywood because Dolly is a real one, and Dolly would not stand for that. But there's just something to me, and maybe this is very putting myself on a pedestal, but there's just something about it to me, like walking in public with my girlfriend, holding hands, openly being out and openly being a couple and being lovey for the people around me. And it's not even like not necessarily like you're gonna like deal with this. It's really for like all the young kids who know this about themselves, but they don't see it around them, and or maybe they don't know quite how to explain what they're feeling because they've never really been around queer people. For me, it's just like, I don't know, maybe it's just this weird cockiness that I have that I'm just like, I want to exist as an example for people out there who can't be out or aren't out. Like, I just want to exist as a good example, showing people like that it is possible and it is like worth it. And I know coming out for some people can be unsafe. I don't want to brush over that, but I don't know, there's just something to like in my head as we're walking holding hands in Dollywood, there's just like something that gets a little bit giddy inside of me thinking about a young queer kid seeing us that's not out, that knows deep down that they are gay, but they don't feel comfortable to be out in their life. There's just something to existing as an example out in the world. I don't know. Maybe that's cocky of me. I don't know. But I guess I don't recall, there's not a moment I can remember in my life of like witnessing, especially lesbians, like holding hands, but just like witnessing gay people just be out in public, not be concerned about anyone, and just like doing their thing. Like, I just think it can be helpful without having to, it's not throwing it in anyone's face. You're just in your own little world, you're doing it. And I don't know, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but I was thinking about that the other day, like in Dollywood. Like, no, I want to be like an out lesbian gay person in this very likely majority conservative area and just show people that, like, bitch, it's not that big of a deal. And also, any of you that are in the closet right now, we see you and we got you, and you are safe around us. And also, we're ready to welcome you in when you're ready. That kind of deal. You know what I mean? I don't know. Something about that. I just love that. Okay, this is an interesting one to me. Something that I had never really thought about until I was reading a book a couple years ago. I have not been in a reading era. I need to get back into a reading era. It's it's bordering embarrassing. Hopefully in 2026, hoping to read more. But in some countries, like, it's illegal to be gay. So, something that changes when you come out is you really do have to consider where you go on trips. It sounds dramatic because it's 2026 or 2025, about to be 2026, but like, it is literally illegal to be gay in some countries. Like, a lot of countries in Africa, in Asia, some Caribbean countries. Y'all, it's illegal technically to be gay in Jamaica. And I don't know about you. There are lots of places that I want to go that are on that list, but personally, I don't really, one, want to be made an example of if I just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time or around the wrong person. And two, there are so many other places that it's not illegal to be gay. So I'm gonna just go to those. But like, some that are really upsetting is like Jamaica, like I said, the Maldives. Hold on, I have it up because it's just like really shocking. Where is it at? This is according to humandignitytrust.org. And .org, I trust that. But yeah, so Asia, like literally Afghanistan, Indonesia, Maldives, like a lot of to be expected places that I don't feel like the need to say. Tons of countries in Africa as well, like Nigeria, Somalia, Kenya. Like, there's just a lot of places out there still. And interestingly enough, a lot of them, it will say illegal, like, male homosexuality, like sexual activity between males. Like, it'll specify that, which I think is like really fucked and interesting. But yeah, like St. Vincent, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago. That one criminalizes sexual activity between males and then criminalizes LGBT people. Like, and then like it'll list the maximum punishment if you get on Google, like 5 years imprisonment. And obviously it's not like you step foot in this country and you get arrested. But once again, like, for me, it's like, why would I even take the chance? Like, I don't know. There's just so many other places you can go where it's not illegal. So, I don't know. But that's something that was not anything on my radar until I read a book that mentioned that there are countries where it's illegal to be gay. And I'm just like, what? I didn't even think about that. I needed to be considering this. So, that's something that I didn't think about, that just putting it on your radar, you know, if you're not out yet. Just know. And obviously, if I'm missing anything, why don't you just drop it in a comment? Because I don't know, I would just be curious what you think. And there's comment section down there for a reason, and that's so that we can have a conversation. The last thing on my list, which I feel like I just thought of one while I was talking, and then it escaped. It's gone. But it's kind of similar to like losing people, and it's just like people might treat you differently. People that are not openly homophobic but like weird about it, like you just might get treated differently. You might not get invited to certain things. If you are visibly very gay, you might be receiving looks and you just might be getting glared at in public. And like, there are people out there that suck and that are just, they've been told their whole life to be afraid and to hate gay people, and so that's how they act. Once again, I'm lucky. I haven't really experienced this except for like one time at a wedding. And I'm like not gonna go too into detail on this because the people's wedding we were at are like the least homophobic, most wonderful people ever. But just people in my girlfriend's life being just very religious and not loving gay people, and it was palpable. And that was something I've never experienced before. And like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the only detail that I will give is just, it's just really interesting to meet your partner's, like, family, like, people your partner was close with when she was a kid. Like, to meet those people. And not really be chatted with in the same way. And to know, without a doubt, that if you were a man, that they would be asking you all sorts of questions, that they would be asking you, like, where you grew up, like, what do you do for a living? They would just be asking you a ton of questions. But because you're a woman and you're in a gay relationship, you just get kind of, like, bare minimum, barely even looked at. And I was not expecting it. Like, I was kind of expecting it, just knowing, like, obviously knowing the situation, but experiencing it and, like, experiencing the looks from people and just the, like, palpable tension was really, really interesting. Especially knowing it's not like we're out here doing anything crazy. Like, we're being very normal, very, like, I mean, we're gay, but it's not like we're, like, out here just, like, making out in front of people, trying to make people feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Not that should, but I'm just saying it's not like we were doing anything that should have made anyone feel uncomfortable. But that's really been my only experience, and it wasn't, like, the worst thing in the world. No one said anything mean. It's really just that, like, closed offness, and it just solely being because you're gay. And it's just, like, you know nothing about me except that I like women and am with a woman, and that is enough for you to just completely blow me off. It's so shocking. Like, it's so shocking. Like, it'd be different if, like, I'm gonna do a whole video on this because I find it intriguing, but, like, religious people, I'm not religious at all, and I don't have a faith, and I have, like, a lot of thoughts about religion and mostly just, like, churches, but I would have a little bit more respect for someone who's just like, I don't really want to chat with you because you don't believe in God. Like, at least that, I'm like, okay, whatever. That's, like, a full belief system. But just because I, like women and, like, want to sleep with women and I like vagina, it's just really funny that that's enough to be like, I have no questions for you. I don't want to know anything about you. So, yeah. Obviously, not everything is bad. And even some of these aren't, like, end of the world type things. Like, it's, like, some of them are more just like, well, that's a bummer. I definitely am of the mindset that anyone that you lose solely because you're gay, like, that's not a loss. Like, it is a loss, but, like, that's just, like, not the kind of energy you want around yourself. You know what I mean? So for me, if I had lost anyone in my life, like, I mean, I guess I kind of have lost my brother. I don't think that it's because I'm gay. I know he has said some, like, really hateful things, but he's just, like, parroting shit that he's heard online because he thinks he's, like, some alpha male who literally lived in my parents' laundry room up until, like, a few months ago. So there's a lot more at play for him, but honestly, the things that he has said to me in past conversations, like, that was enough for me to kind of be like, you don't get access to me. Like, I don't really want anything to do with you. On top of shitty things that he said to my family. But, like, there's no need to go into all of that. But, like, for me, I'm just very much like, bye. Like, okay. Like, if that's it, like, you're so dense. Like, you're so, not anyone I want to even be around. Like, like, what a boring, miserable person you are. And that's just how I feel about it. So, yeah, just know, once again, I'm starting with the bad or the negative because I want to bring it up and end on a positive note. So just know, just because this video doesn't have any of the positives, oh girl, there are positives. It's literally, like I said, one of my favorite things about me. And I love my life and what it looks like, and it wouldn't look like how it looks if I wasn't gay. Does that make sense? I just need you to know, just because all of these have been negative does not mean that should deter you. I don't even know why I felt led to make this video because it is pretty negative, but it is one of those things that I don't know. I think it's good to be mindful of. I think a lot of people, if you have stumbled across this video because you're not out, I think a lot of these things would probably already be like, duh. Like, I didn't really need to be told any of this, but I just want to talk about it and normalize it. And honestly, like, anyone that stumbles across this video that's not gay and is just, maybe you have a gay family member or a gay friend and you're trying to like understand more about queer culture and things that come with being queer, like, just know, like, these are some of the things that queer people deal with solely because they're gay. Nothing to do with their personality, nothing to do with how they treat people, just because they want to touch the body part that they have. Sorry that I put it that way. I don't feel like I needed to, but sometimes I like to be a little dramatic in saying things like that to further express how ridiculous something is. I don't really know that it hits for everyone, but it personally hits for me. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Also, check out this mug. Big mug fan. I want to try to have a new mug in every video so that I can show off my mug collection. This one, oh, the light is... Sorry, I have a monitor. Copycats. And it's very sweet because it's an orange cat, and Miso, our little kitten that we just got, he copies everything, mostly that his sister does, but he copies everything that his older siblings do, and it's really, really sweet and funny. So now I have had this mug for a little while, but now it's even better because we have a copycat amongst us in our home. Well, there's no sense in dragging this out because that's the whole reason why I'm splitting up the videos, is because if I had to cover the good, oh my god, this video would be so long. So come back next week if you want to see the good. My plan is to try and post on here every Tuesday, or most Tuesdays. I'm not gonna like force myself into anything, but I do just really enjoy just kind of talking things out. And selfishly, what I've enjoyed the most is the responses that I've gotten from some videos. Like, I don't expect every video to get like hella views or anything, but a couple of them have like hit the algorithm in a way that has shown it to enough people where a small handful of people have like found me on Instagram and reached out directly, or like sent me a direct message, or sent just a very kind comment, or just reminded me of why I wanted to just put my experience out there, and that's just to make people feel less alone. And I feel like it's really easy to make people feel less alone. I think if we all just share what we're comfortable with sharing in whatever way that is, whether that's in person with a group of people or online. I've always been drawn to YouTube. I don't really know why. And I've just let other things like hold me back from just saying fuck it and just posting. So I've posted on YouTube like off and on since like high school. Like since 2008 probably. Well, call it 2009, 2010, probably my senior year. I've been just like posting random shit, and a lot of my stuff is private because a lot of it had to do with my ex-husband and he was in it. And I don't know, I'm just trying to like lean into the things that I enjoy talking about and trying to put myself out there in a way that hopefully finds people that are like-minded, that I don't know, I would like fuck with. I'm like always trying to grow my community. I'm not a no new friends kind of person. I want to be connected with as many queer people as I possibly can, all over the place. If you're here in Nashville, that's where I live. That's where I'm gay. I would love to connect. Like, reach out, find me on Instagram. My links are probably in the bio. I'm honestly terrible about responding to messages, so just like bear with me. I'm hoping to be more consistent on here. My girlfriend and I have previously posted on a YouTube channel called The Gab, and we do have plans to bring that thing back this year. So if you want to listen to me and my girlfriend talk about generally gay stuff, but we're also going to talk about just anything random that comes to mind, and we're going to try to do that on Thursdays. So trying to spread out. So hopefully there'll be a video here on Tuesdays and a video there on Thursdays if we can pull it off. Don't expect consistency from me, but I'm trying. Next week, we're talking about the good things that change. The things that change for the better when you come out.